Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Raven's Escape Crafts. I'm Sue, your host and owner and head crafter of Raven's Escape Crafts. If you've been here before, welcome back. If you're new here, welcome. I'm a crazy craft lady who makes all sorts of different crochet items, from washcloths to, well, I do all kind of crap. I do soaps, washcloths, to these crazy, I'm getting there on my Ice Queen outfit. So if that's something you're interested in, welcome, and let's talk. So happy Monday, everybody. I hope you had a great weekend. It is dreary here again. It was dreary all weekend again. It'd be nice if we had just like a little sun on the weekend. They said it's been since March 12th that we've had a weekend that did not have measurable precipitation. Since March, and it's June, so I don't know. But let's talk about. So, y'all saw the caplet, and of course the gloves, or fingerless gloves that I made to go with it. We're coming to the full circle of the outfit. So it's going to be, the idea behind this outfit is it's accessories for an outfit. So you should be able to put like a dark blue dress or dark blue pants and a top underneath, and you have a full accoutrement for either Ice Queen, Ice Witch, whichever you want to talk about, or whatever else you want, a blue, fairy, whatever you want to make it out to be. So I want to show you some of the accessories that I just finished, and I'm almost done with the last one. So this actually is a singular headpiece, right? And then it has around the back, it has these, and then at the bottom, it has some icicles hanging down. Okay, so this can be worn separate if you want to. And this would go good with the, I have a blue ice cape with a hood that would go great with this outfit too, that's on Etsy, that's already up on Etsy. So that actually, I'm going to be selling them separate, but that will go with this outfit. So if you want to wear just this headpiece and then the cape with the hood, you can. So that would make a great Ice Witch. But then it's going to have the crown with it, which is separate. I'm leaving it separate so you can wear it if you want to or not. And then this has sparkles in it. I don't know if you can see them on camera. Let me take it off. So this has, look at all the sparkles. This has sparkles in it. Okay. And then it looks like this. All right, and then it's going to come with a belt I made. And this is the kind of belt where you like put it through and then it'll hang down. Do you know what I'm talking about? You can put it through I know it goes through a different way, and it'll hang down. All right. And then I'm working on pouches. This is the last things. So I have one pouch. These are all to go on the belt. So this is one of the pouches. And it'll hang on the belt like this. And then I have show and tell. This one needs the ends woven in. So we're not going to talk about that part. But this is going to be another to hang on your belt. And then I'm working on a final one. This one's for yourself, to hang on the belt. This one's not quite done. I'm working on the back. And then I got to put the blue around the top. So, but it's almost done. And then that will be my complete ice switch set. I am so in love with the set. Can we talk about how in love with this set I am? I don't know. I was worried about how the crown was going to turn out. Of course, now that I made this, as soon as my husband saw it, he's like, oh, now you need to make chainmail, and you should make other color crowns, like black with gold, and he wants all kind of crowns and chainmails. And so we're going to have to work on that. I put him in my list of my stuff to think about making. So I'm going to work on that. I have to design them, because this one was just, like I said, I just freehanded this. All this stuff I freehanded. And like I said, the idea is that you can just throw like a blue dress underneath, or a blue like slacks and a tunic, and I switch. And like I said, you can get the cloak. I have the cloak. It's already on my Etsy, and I think it's on Pinterest too if you're interested in Raven's Escape Crafts. You can see it. I'm going to try to get all this stuff up on Pinterest and stuff. But yeah, and then this will be the belt with all the belt accessories for it. So you can carry all your stuff. And it'll come with the gloves. So I am super excited. I think it's a super fun accessory pack. I think it'll make a really cool outfit for Ren Fair, for a Halloween costume, you could use it for Comic-Con, I think it'll be really nice, little versatile, and obviously you can wear, excuse my hair, it is a mess. I've been trying this stuff on. You can obviously wear the crown alone. If you're papa, do your hair, all nice. I did not do my hair yet this morning. Put your hair. You do not have to wear it. So I thought, because my husband was like, oh, are you going to put the crown on? And I said, no, I think I want to leave it separate, because it does stay really nice, either way. And this way, like I said, you can wear this. And then if you have your hood and your cape, you don't want the crown necessarily, or, add the crown. And the crown fits just on there. So, what do you guys think? I am in love with it. I think it looks really fun, really cool. I think it'll make an excellent accessories for somebody. Want to go to, like I said, like Ren Fair, or even Halloween, or some sort of nice costume, party. Let's say a masquerade ball. Masquerade. Obviously, I don't have a mask, but you could add that. I'm super excited at how it came out. I'm thrilled to death. And these are, like I said, these are like a twisted. I did this specifically because regular fringe tends to get knotted up. I made something with fringe, and they all like knot together, especially if you wash it and it gets a mess, where this is twisted. And I thought, not only does it give it sort of that more like an icicle look, but they don't fray. Right, sorry about that. My phone just is like, oh, storage full. I'm like, you could have let me know like before I started recording. So I'm back. If you saw a blip there. So this is the Ice Queen thing. I'm super excited about it. I think it's going to be a cool accessory package for anybody. I'll let you guys know when it goes up on my Etsy. I am not there yet, because obviously I haven't finished everything, but we're getting there. So how was everybody's weekend? We didn't do a whole lot. Saturday was a little busy. The kids had to record, and they wanted to play a Warhammer game with my husband, so they did that. And then yesterday was Father's Day, so of course we gave my husband what he really wanted, which was a nice relaxing day. We all kind of just hung out and had a nice day together. In the evening we played some video games. In the afternoon and evening we played some video games together. We played, if you've ever played Overcooked 2, first we were playing, it's called Plate Up, which is another kitchen game. And then we, in the evening after dinner, we'll get to that. After dinner, we played some Overcooked 2, which if you've ever played that, you can play it with up to 4 players, and it's a crazy cooking game. It's just fun. I mean, it's hard. It's really hard. And it's and it's chaotic, but it's fun. And we had a lot of laughs. You're trying to fight the horde, the angry horde of food. It's funny. You can be all these crazy characters. We had a lot of fun with it. We lost a lot of times, but we all laughed and we were all working together, and it was actually so much fun as a good family game to play together. And so we did. We had a lot of fun playing and a lot of laughs, a lot of frustration, a lot of. But you know, it's cool because it forces you to work together. Like, none of the characters in that game can work without the other ones. So, it's actually a really cool family game. If you've never played it, it's a lot of fun. And like I said, it's not easy. It's really not. We lost so many times, but then it forces you to work together if you're going to get anything done. So we had a lot of fun with that. We had some steak and shrimp on the grill with some cornbread. That was really tasty. We just sort of hung out, and what's the movie? What did we watch? Oh my God. We were looking for a movie the kids had never seen. And they like 90s and 80s comedy movies. So we were looking for something they hadn't seen, and we went over a bunch of movies, and we ended up watching Don't Throw Mama from the Train. Does anybody remember that one with Danny DeVito? And I think it was it Billy Crystal? Yeah, I think so. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. And my husband's like, Todd was like, oh, you guys got to see this. This is a messed up movie. And we're watching it, and they're just like, I mean, even when it ended, Logan's like, what did we just watch? And I'm like, I know, it's a funny movie. I mean, I'm sure most of you have seen it, and the funny part about it is, like, the whole movie's about, like, murdering his wife and Danny DeVito's mom, who's a horrible person. And nobody ends up dying in the movie at the end anyway, so it's hilarious. And but Logan's like, what did we just watch? I'm like, again, these movies show you why your parents are how they are, because these were the movies that were funny as the kids. You know what I mean? Like, we watch some of these movies, and I forget how bad some of them are, like, that, we're like comedies, like, for families and teens and stuff. I mean, so that's an interesting, so my kids don't watch much TV. They watch a lot of YouTube and then TikToks and stuff like that, obviously. But they're not, like, big TV watchers. Pretty much the only TV shows they watch are when they watch with us. Logan watches a little bit of anime, but not very much at all. And and then we as a family watch some shows, like, mostly comedy shows. We're big on comedy, like Only Murders in the Building. We watched The Office. They love The Office. We most recently watched what was it called? Oh, what was that called? It's on Hulu. It was I can't think of what it's called. Dang it, because we were watching Only Murders in the Building, and then this new show came out. It was only 8 episodes. Oh, we watched Young Sheldon. We watched Big Bang Theory. We got all the way through Big Bang Theory, and then we watched Young Sheldon. What else did we watch? We started Supernatural, but they weren't super into that, unfortunately. We watched some Friends. Logan really likes Friends. Michael, meh. And now we're watching Parks and Recreation, which I think is one of, like, oh my God. Next to, we watched Schitt's Creek. So they really like comedy shows. So we had watched Schitt's Creek. We had watched What was the other? Well, obviously Big Bang Theory. I love Big Bang Theory, and they were totally into Big Bang Theory. So, because of course they're math nerds, so they really like Big Bang Theory. And The Office. They love The Office. So I'm like, well, since you guys like those, the next one we got to watch is Parks and Rec, because that's one of my favorite comedy series as well. And they're loving that one too. But like some of these talking about like kids shows, like we used to watch some of like the teen shows before, like Henry Danger or some of these like Nickelodeon teen shows now, and they're like so dumbed down kids shows, you know what I mean? And I'm like, I said to Logan, I'm like, this is not what teen shows were like when we were teenagers. And he's like, well, what do you mean? Like, these are teenage shows? And I'm like, no, these are not teenage shows for when we were kids. And I'm like, he's like, well, what were like teenage shows? I said, well, one that I used to love and I still like to watch is 21 Jump Street. I'm sure anybody from my era knows 21 Jump Street. Johnny Depp, oh my God. Peter DeLuise, oh my God. Absolutely love that show. Absolutely love that show. All the characters on there. Chef's Kiss, until the end. I mean, later on with Booker but obviously Johnny Depp, loved. And so I'm like, this was labeled as a teen show and was actually showed like during like after school. And he's like, okay, let's watch a couple episodes. So one afternoon we sat and watched a few episodes, and he looks at me, he's like, this was a teen show? I'm like, yeah, this was a teen show. He's like, these kids are doing drugs, there's guns, there's like police, everybody's getting arrested. Like, this is a teen show. I said it dealt with a lot of teen situations back then, you know what I mean? And it was, I said, and we barely scratched the surface. Like, we didn't get into rape, we didn't get into gang stuff, we didn't get into AIDS. There's episodes about that, human trafficking, homelessness, runaways. There was so much. And I said, we didn't even like scratch the surface with these couple episodes. And he's like, oh dear God. And I'm like, again, now you know why your parents are the way they are. I'm like, later we had like Saved by the Bell, but that was sort of like after I was a teenager. That was like, I was a little bit older for that. And that was a little more like teen-like, where it was actual like teen stuff. But I'm like, this was a lot of the teen stuff that was on. These were the teenage shows. I'm like, stuff like this. And then the MTV shows and stuff like that. It was not this dumbed down like teeny bopper stuff so much, I said there was like preteen shows, but this was like the like high school kid age show, like Here You Are. And he's like, oh my God. I'm like, yeah, it was a lot more in your face, a lot more brutal, a lot more like, this is reality, people, get over it. Like, it was such a different time, and and he's like, well, in a way it's good, and I'm like, yeah, I mean, we were like, it's funny because I saw a thing the other day and they're like, and I think I mentioned this before, they're like, oh, if there's ever an apocalypse, Gen X is the only ones that are going to survive. And I'm like, I believe that. And I wholeheartedly believe that Gen X will survive. And it is not going to be in these colonies like you see on these apocalyptic shows where they all band together. And no, we're all going to be like living separate in our own little... We're going to have our own little homesteads all separate from each other. Like, leave me alone. I wholeheartily believe it. We're like, oh, good. Everybody else is gone. Now leave me alone. We'll be fine. And I'm sorry if you're not Gen X, but I find that hilarious. I mean, I hate to say it, but I can totally relate. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. My mom was at home, and, I had a nuclear family with a mom and dad and a brother and all that jazz. And, I mean, as far as like, I had more of a support system than a lot of kids I knew. My mom was actually stay at home. There was a lot of kids I knew that came home to an empty house, that their parents worked. I did not. My mom was always at home. However, I mean, my mom watched her shows. And when I say my mom watched her shows, like she watched she watched General Hospital, she watched All My Children, she watched all her shows, and you did not bother her during her shows. She would get her stuff done in the morning, and now obviously we had to do certain things like in the afternoon, like grocery shop or whatever sometimes, but if it was a day when she was watching her shows from like 11:30, when I think it was The World Turns was on, I could be wrong, it was a long time ago, until 4, when General Hospital was over, like, it better be that you lost a limb to bother her, because she did not want, I mean, like, if you had something you needed to ask her, you could wait till it was commercial, and then you could ask her. But if you tried to interrupt while her show was on, it was like, my show is on. My show is on. And like I said, not that she didn't do other stuff. I mean, she did, we hung laundry. I should go out and get laundry, blah, blah, blah. But for the most part, if she was sitting watching her shows, you knew to leave her alone, watch her shows. And we, especially me, my brother got away with more, but I had to be outside. If it was not, absolutely awful outside, meaning like raining, pouring, thunderstorming, I was supposed to be outside playing during the day. It was like, get out of this house. What are you doing in this house? I mean, we really were like, I felt this, I know a lot of Gen Xers talk about it. And I'm like, I feel that way. Like, it was like in the morning, like, have breakfast. Okay, go outside and play. Go outside, go outside, go outside, go outside. I mean, now, it wasn't that I couldn't come in and use the bathroom or get something to drink or whatever, but I really did not feel welcome in the house. It was like, get outside, go outside. Why are you in here? Go outside. Why are you in the house? Go outside. I'm really hot. Okay, we'll cool off for a minute and then go outside. And God forbid you said, oh, it's cold in here. The air conditioning's too cold. They'd be like, well, go outside and warm up. I used to hear that all the time. So, yeah, I can relate to the Gen X. Like, we kind of had to do stuff on our own. Like, I mean, I tell my kids this stuff all the time. I'm like, you don't understand. Like, they love to be in their rooms, okay? My kids love being in their rooms. Because, why? Because they have a computer in there. They have a TV in there. A smart TV, so they can watch anything they want. They have their Xbox in there. They can entertain themselves all day long. I'm like, that was not the case when I was a kid. I had, my bed. I had my clothes. I had a little bit of crafting stuff that I had. I had my magazines. I had my books. And my radio. That was it. There was no TV in there. There was no phone in there. There was no, and they had their cell phones in their room too. I'm like, there wasn't a lot to do in there. And that was our punishment place. That was where we ended up going when we got in trouble. So I didn't want to be in my room. And we weren't allowed to like stay in bed in the morning or anything like that, I would get like, get up, you're not going to sleep all day, blah, blah, blah. So... and then like we were outside and like we had to deal with our own stuff and like we rode our bikes here, there, and everywhere. And if shit happened and you had to deal with it. You can't like call your mom. There was no phone. You know what I mean? If you got a flat tire, you were hiking your bike back. If you got hurt, you had to walk home. You know what I mean? Like you had to walk home. And I knew a lot of kids that walked home with broken arms and all bleeding all over the place. I mean, there was no phone. You know, where I lived, there was like one payphone all the way at the other end of town at the bar, on the outside of the bar. That was the only freaking payphone there was. And, I mean, not to say there was a lot of people in the town I grew up with that obviously if like you really got hurt or something, they would have called your parents, whatever. But, there wasn't like now where you could like quick, like, oh my God, my phone, like, call mom, oh my God. No, that wasn't it, you know? So, I mean, like, even when I used to drop us off at the mall and I had a quarter to call her when we were ready to get picked back up. I mean, that was just the way it was. I mean, we survived on our a lot. We would go off with people. They didn't know where the hell we were. I mean, my brother and I, even like when we were, 12, 11, running around here, there, and everywhere. A lot of places my mom still doesn't know we went. And all the stuff we did with our friends and did. Ugh. If my parents had a clue as to some of the shit I did when I was a teenager, oh my God, they would. And it's funny because, like, my kid is, like, my older son, he's 14 going on 15. And I'm like, the shit I did at 15. The shit I did at 15. I mean, the stuff I went through at 15, oh my God, that was a bad year for me. And, I think to myself, and of course, at that point, I knew people who were having, I went to parties where everybody was drunk and stoned and had all kind of drugs. And I was 15, and he's all oh, alcohol. And I'm like, yeah, that's not how my 15-year-old self was. And all right, I'm going to tell you a funny, I don't want to go on too much, but so I really didn't drink much when I was a kid. And let me tell you why. And let me tell you why I exposed my kids to this stuff for the same reason. So from when I was little, my dad worked at a fire company here in Pennsylvania. Fire companies a lot of times have bars in them, and it's a private club. You have to be a member, but they have a bar. And my dad was, from when I was little, involved in a fire company in our area. And he was even a bartender for a time, and then eventually became on the board and stuff like that. So I was going to the fire company with my dad since I was little baby. I remember sitting at the bar when I was barely old enough to reach the bar and drinking. They would give me sodas and whatever, and it was a huge part of my dad's life, and of course it ended up being a huge part of my life for the most part. And so I was around drunk people from when I was really little. Now, my dad liked to drink, but he was not in any way, shape, or form an alcoholic. I mean, he liked to drink socially. He was a very social drinker. So, but I got to see drunk people from when I was little, okay? And I saw it, and so it was nothing, there was no allure to the alcohol for me. I grew up, my dad always had alcohol in the house. I was going to the bar. There was tons and tons of alcohol here. When we were kids, he used to take us along to me especially, along to the liquor store to pick up the liquor for the fire company. That was one of his jobs. So, I mean, alcohol was not this big deal, everybody, our age did. So I just did it. And then, of course, I spent my entire childhood watching people be idiots when they were drunk, seeing how stupid they got, seeing people fighting, seeing people falling, seeing people just throwing up, I didn't want that. I don't want to throw up. I don't like throwing up, just seeing people act so dumb. I watched marriages fall apart because of it. I saw relationships fall apart because of it. I saw people die because of it, and so like, when I was a teenager, it just didn't have that allure that it did to like, oh, we could drink. And I'm like, I don't, I mean, I don't really want to. So I went to a lot of parties and stuff, but I didn't particularly, like, I had no intention of getting drunk. There was just that allure to it. And of course, then again, I also had my dad who would say to me, like, I trust you going to these parties, and I'm trusting you to go and be responsible. I know there's going to be alcohol there, and I know there's going to be pot there, and I know there's going to be drugs there. And just know that if you come, I've been a bartender for most of my life, and I've been around this and that. And if you walk in this door smelling like alcohol, I will know it, and you will never go to another party again. So, it just, between the two, I mean, I went to parties, I just didn't drink. And, not really until later, And again, too, like, my dad was one, like, he always let us try alcohol. Like, my brother never liked it, but, it'd be like, oh, like, I had my first sip of beer. I couldn't tell you. I was probably like 7 or 8. And I'm like, ugh, that's disgusting. Why do you like that? And then later on, it was like, you want to try this? The one time we were working at, like I told you in other videos, I used to help my dad cook at this fire company. He was at one point he became the cook. And then when I was 12, I started helping out in the kitchen. And one time, I couldn't have been more than like 13 or 14. And I had the worst sore throat, like the worst, in the morning. And, he's like, well, do you want to stay home? And I was like, no, I know you need me. I want to go in anyway. I just washed dishes and carried stuff. I mean, I didn't really directly work with the food. So I wasn't like super concerned about getting other people sick. So I was like, no, I'll go with. But of course I'm there and I'm like, ugh. My dad's like, let me go get you something, right? So he comes back with this little cup and he's like, here, it's medicine. I shouldn't have fallen for it. I should have known better. So I'm like, oh, it's sore throat medicine. He's like, yep, sore throat medicine. Take a sip. And I'm like, he's like, oh my God. He's like, burns, doesn't it? I'm like, oh. I thought I was dying. I really thought I was dying. Gives me half a shot of whiskey. I mean, it didn't help 100%. I don't know, between the burning and the killing the bacteria in my throat or whatever it did, and then the little bit of being buzzed afterward, I felt a lot better the rest of the day, but never forget that pain. So again, like, it wasn't like this alluring, like, ooh, I wonder what it tastes like, because it was like, ooh, Sorry, I went on a little rant again. I was supposed to be working on my bags. I did want to show this off, though. So, how was your guys' Father's Day or weekend? Or did anybody do anything interesting this weekend? There was a lot of stuff going on in the world this weekend. Did anybody participate in anything this weekend? Just asking. So, I don't know what else. That's pretty much kind of went on a little. I enjoyed these little tic-tacs we have together. I have to find some more movies to watch with the kids because they get. I mean, we showed them a lot of. We've gone through a lot of different 80s and 90s movies with them that they really like. Even some like of the more serious ones, like we watched Saving Private Ryan. We watched. I'm trying to think. Like all kind of different movies that we watched. Can't get them to watch romance, but shocker. But other than that, they really like the comedies. Oh my God, they love like Wayne's World, the Bill and Ted's. They love those. Trying to find some other ones for them to watch. We've watched a bunch of comedies that they really enjoyed. But I have to find more. One of these days I want to show them like 16 Candles. Like that's a teen movie that wouldn't fly as a teen movie today, you know what I mean? Or Pretty in Pink too, you know, trying to get her underwear. And I just think like today these kids, like they're not like all like sexed up like we were and all this jazz. I mean, it's very mild compared. And it's not just my kid. Like, so, and don't think I'm just drawing this like, oh, honey, your kids. No, because like I've talked to other kids their age and other parents, like, and they're just not as into like all the bad stuff we were into, which is good. Is 1,000% good. I'm glad that kids today are like not as obsessed with dating and obsessed with losing their virginity, which was a big thing back then. Obsessed with, you know, drugs and alcohol, which was a big thing back then. And all sorts of other stuff like that. You know, I mean, it does seem to be like tamped down a little bit. I think I attribute a lot of that to the fact that we also now acknowledge that mental health is important, which they did not used to do when we were children. And, you know, it was more like, don't drink because you're going to die. Look, we're into a mad thing where we killed so many people in your class every so many minutes to show you how many people are dead. Every, 8 minutes, somebody dies of a DUI accident. Like, okay. So does anybody have any other, so let me know in the comments. What are you guys working on? What do you guys think of my thing? Tell me your favorite 90s movies, whatever you want to talk about. Tell me some stories from when you were a kid. Let me know. And I hope you all have an absolutely wonderful rest of your day or whatever day this is. I hope you have a great day. I hope you do something to make yourself smile today. And I love you all. I appreciate each and every one of you and choose love every day. Bye.